Welcome to the Pin Leader Podcast, where strategic leaders get straight to the topics, strengthening our awareness and sharpening our minds. The Pin Leader Podcast is produced by Roar, a production division of Mays & Associates Ltd. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Now here is your award-winning host, Dr. Shanda Gore.
And welcome back to the Pin Leader Podcast. Today's episode is about being true to self. And I have with me a returning guest, Miss Amy Hall. I'm so excited to have her here. And just as a reminder, she is a president and founder of the Empowerment Group. She's a co-owner of Armstrong Steel and a certified life coach. She's attended University of North Carolina, Chapel Hill, where she completed her bachelor's degree in physical education and sports medicine. She's worked in leadership positions across the United States in Texas, Arizona, and Georgia. She's also had the wonderful pleasure of testifying before Congress on the House Transportation and Infrastructure Committee. She's belonged to and has now a seat with the Associated General Contractors. And she is also the past president of the Ohio Contractors Association Board of Directors. She has so much experience working across the United States, as well as working with groups and teams and leading projects and efforts. So please help me welcome Amy Hall. Hi, Amy.
Hello, Dr. Gore. Thank you for having me back. I was so excited when I got the invite, and I was like, oh.
Have to come back. You are 30 shows away from when you came from the last time.
That's incredible, because it seems like yesterday I was here, and kudos to you. This is a wonderful, wonderful platform, and so I am so grateful and honored to be back.
Thank you so much. Yes, we shout out to the few folks that are in those different countries, Germany and Bangladesh and Canada and Russia. Hello out there. And of course, our 32 state reach now. So we're excited. There's a lot of growth.
Oh, I love it. Absolutely love it.
Excellent. So today we're going to be talking about true to self, being authentic. And I think, out of all the leaders, you are one of my top 5 with being authentic, true to self, and leading in that way. And so my first question is, what are you passionate about and what are you doing?
I am really passionate about helping people remember who they are and finding out and remembering that there are so many possibilities in life, and that if you think it and you believe it, you can become it. One of my biggest phrases is it's possible, and really helping people remember all the things in life that are possible. And also another big thing for me is on the diversity end of things with the DBE, which is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise. I've been very proactive from locally, statewide, as well as nationally, with really helping to get the program in a position where it really benefits the recipients, and helping all people who participate in the program, whether you're the prime contractor or the DBE contractor, really understanding that we are both working together for the same thing, for the same net outcome. And even though we're on opposite sides of the spectrum, it's still the same thing at the end of the day. And so really helping people become aware of that and understanding the programmatics and how do we work within the program and how do we make it beneficial for all parties.
And that, obviously, that passion's come out where you've taken that and turned it into opportunities to help lead groups that are focused on trying to help further that. Is that right?
Absolutely, yes. And so with the Associated General Contractors of America, we have, as an organization, have really taken a great position on diversifying our industry, recognizing the fact that our industry is changing and that we need to be a part of the change and be proactive, whether it's workforce development, whether it's member engagement, and whether it is on the legislative side. So I have been very active with the Associated General Contractors of America in order to help preserve this moving forward, and not only preserve it, but really help the program to be more robust as well as more comprehensive for all parties.
Excellent. And so with that, that means that you have to have some level of understanding of culture. And I know there's a statistic out there right now, according to Columbia University, there's a report that says with corporate culture, that on average, those with good culture have a 13.9% turnover rate compared to a 48% turnover rate within companies with poor culture. What do you think about that?
I think it's really, really important that people understand what your corporate culture is in your company and really be able to take the time and strategically plan that and define what the culture is. And also being able to recognize where you are today and where you want to go forward as well. There are so many white papers. AGC actually published a white paper regarding this subject, and that when you have a diverse group of employees in your business or in your corporation, that not only is it better in the workplace, meaning workplace retention to your point, so that your bottom line is better, increased profits. And at the end of the day, all businesses are in business in order to, do well. So it's really just helping people kind of change their perspective on this and helping people open up to understanding that the way we might have done things historically, hard work, that's true too. But also we have moved into a space in which empathy is important, compassion is important, belonging is important, and there's a big thing on mental health in the workplace, and that's very important and significant as well.
You bring that up, and I'm so fascinated the fact you're all the roles that you have, and you're also a certified life coach. Did you feel the need to take on the life coach because of those kind of challenges that you were seeing?
I always believe that my steps have been guided and that I have always had a higher purpose in life. And I've been fortunate enough to have enough life experience as well as business experience that helped me want to be able to share with people at a more expanded level about what's possible. By working in the corporate industry, in the corporate field, and then being able to segue into owning my own business, I realized how important people were, and everybody wants to feel like they matter, which hence wanted me to become a life coach in order to be able to better connect with people and to show them what's possible.
Mm-hmm. I also see that, you've been traveling quite a bit. And I'm going to say this because I know you and I see you traveling, and you really spread out your experiences internationally. And I was wondering, because you do so much travel internationally, and what are you seeing when you're working with teams that are internationally based, and the diversification of that team? What challenges, and then what are the pros and cons of that?
I would say what I see the biggest pro and con of that is the challenges that we have here regarding like racial diversity or gender diversity or religious diversity, which all seem to be a very hot topic at this point, don't really exist there. People have a greater aptitude to be able to work together and work this wonderful, cohesive balance with acknowledging the differences, but the differences don't become problematic. Mm-hmm. And so it's this real symbiotic relationship. And that's what I've noticed is probably one of the biggest differences between being abroad and being here in the U.S. Some of the challenges that we have here, you don't see abroad.
Mm-hmm. What are some of the barriers that if you do have some challenges that come up in teams, and it doesn't have to be abroad, but here, what are some of the challenges you're seeing, and then how do you tackle them?
Some of the challenges that I see they're pretty simplistic from the sense of some of the challenges is like opening up your perspective to things. So oftentimes we become entrenched in our beliefs because we were raised this way. It is the corporate culture. It is our friends. It is everything. And so what we believe, therefore, is true. Being able to change your perspective and being able to tap into and being open that somebody else's perspective may be a little different than yours really makes you a better leader. It makes you a better coworker. It makes you a better manager, and it makes you a better friend. Being able to really change your perspective or broaden your perspective for that matter, and being able to embrace the fact that not everybody necessarily has to think like I think or think like we think, but it can be different and it's true for them. So just because I haven't experienced something that doesn't make it not true.
Yeah, I've had a number of workshops where we talk about perception sometimes is nine-tenths of the law. Your perception is your reality, and understanding that other people have perceived the same situation differently. You need to get your head wrapped around that. And the difference, when I call it, there's a name for it, centristic, is when you're centristic, you think your perception is the only perception, and it's dangerous for teams.
Oh, very much so. And that's why I'm so grateful for having the international travel experience, is that it allows me to broaden my perspective. Living here in Ohio and working in the United States, the perspective about things is very different when you get overseas. And it really helps me become more culturally aware, more embracing of other ideas and thoughts. And it helps me become a better person.
Mm-hmm. Well, the interactions and engagements are probably healthier and better. And for you, you've been very successful in business. It's obviously very good for business too.
I am not complaining.
Well, talk a little bit about what suggestions you would make for leaders who are trying to expand maybe their business. They're looking at what's going on nationally. So maybe they're not thinking global yet, but maybe that's something they would think about down the road. Can you give some pointers for those that are trying to think about expansion, what that looks like, and some steps on how to go about it successfully?
Absolutely. I think the first thing is you have to be very comfortable with where you are today, because where you are is the perfect starting point.
True to
launching
self.
pad. Exactly. True to self. And be okay with that. So oftentimes, we think bigger is better, but bigger isn't always better. Bigger can be better. And I'm not saying bigger's not. Understand where you want to go. So I like to backwards plan. So I like to have an endpoint or a goal and then plan backwards on how to achieve that. So I think that's very important. I think you have to know your strengths as a manager and as a leader. You have to know who you are, what you're good at, and then the things where you might need a little bit more growth and maturity. Surround yourself with those people who have the capabilities that you might be needing to mature. And it makes you a better leader. It shows your authenticity, it shows your vulnerability, but it also, you're not surrounded by just yes people. And that's very important, because so oftentimes as leaders, we want everybody to say yes to us, because then we feel really good about the choices and the decisions we're making. But it might not be the best decision. And also remember, you're playing the long game. So often we get caught up in what things appear to be today. And just because what things appear to be today, that doesn't mean it's going to be that way in 3 months, 6 months,
so
a year.
Mm-hmm.
And so being able to breathe a little bit, give yourself the deference that today is good. If you were supposed to be somewhere else, you would be. But use that to really hone in on what you want and get clear on what you want. Practice to your strengths, or surround yourself with people who can really add to where you are today.
That's a very good point. I would agree. There's discussions, especially when we're talking about our firm works with business coaching and executive coaching. And you need to surround yourself not only with good people, but great people. Those individuals who want you to be successful, not those that they say they do, but they're not really on board, or they don't understand, or they say it because they want to say it to get along. There are those that you can count on, and you know who they are. I mean, authentic, and you're being true to yourself if you can surround yourself with individuals. I call it the board of directors, who you can go to and ask questions and know it's a safe space. That's hard to do. Not everybody trusts, but trust comes with actions. And if you see those actions, that's when trust is built and the relationships are built. And if you can't demonstrate that, trust is not given, it is earned.
Absolutely. And I think as a leader, people are always watching you. They're always watching. And so what you say, to your point, what you say and what you do has to be in alignment. And what you say and what you do, that idea has to also be in alignment with the people you are surrounded with. And making sure that everybody understands the vision and where you want to go, and that you're all rowing the boat in the same direction. Because you can have 9 people rowing in one direction. You can have the one person going in reverse, and your boat starts going in circles, right? And we've all experienced that at some point.
Sure.
And so being able to get everybody going forward in the same direction is hugely important.
Well, I think there's something that I know we've talked briefly about is those engagements, and if they're healthy engagements, but if it's a one-sided conversation, that's not a conversation. That's not good interpersonal communication. If you find yourself quiet and someone else is always talking about what they're doing, how they're doing, and everything you say all of a sudden is turned into what they're doing. That's a sign that that's not a good rower for your boat. Am I right?
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Relationship has to be both ways. It has to, the road that runs east runs west. And so, there's sometimes we're on one-way streets, right? Where you just need to go to your employee or to your manager or to your friend and, download. And so everybody gets a download moment. But recognizing the fact that that other person might need a download moment as well. And so being able to have that cohesiveness, have that conversation and that space to have that conversation, and understanding that it's a mutually shared space and that we are exchanging between the two of us. And so when the exchange becomes out of balance, then one person is more depleted and one person is more full. And we've all experienced people like that.
I call it the vampiric effect. It's a vampire. It's kind of just draws on you and you're just wore out. I tell individuals, when you start to feel that, walk away. Figure out how to end that conversation and walk away.
Absolutely. I say run, Forrest, run.
Excellent. I'm going to ask you, what do you read? What are you reading? What are you watching that keeps you attuned?
So right now I am reading Becoming Supernatural by Joe Dispenza. I just had the opportunity to do 2 Joe Dispenza workshops within the last 6 months, and it has really been an incredible game changer for me. And I'm also watching The Abundance Code. It's on Gaia TV. But my sinful pleasure is I'm watching Suits on Netflix. And I'm right at the end, and I don't want it to end.
Oh, excellent. I can't thank you enough for coming on the show, sharing these words of wisdom, and just being here. And, every time you are a ray of positivity when you walk in. And I know you may have heard this before, but you bring that, and that radiates from you. So thank you so much for sharing today.
Oh, thank you for the opportunity. And I'm so grateful to be here. And much love to you as well. I mean, birds of a feather flock together. And so whatever you have said to me, I reflect exactly back to you of who you are. So I'm so grateful for you.
Thank you. So for our listeners, don't forget to subscribe and like the Pin Leader podcast. Share it with others. Don't be afraid to share it with others, and post it where you can. We really appreciate your feedback and your thoughts. And so until next time.
The Pin Leader podcast is hosted by Dr. Shanda Gore and brought to you by Mays & Associates Ltd, creating customized solutions for growth in the areas of leadership development, strategic planning, and culture building. Find out more at www.maysassociatesltd.com. Don't forget to subscribe to the Pin Leader podcast and share with others.